Hi, I'm Goreweaver, and I'm actually just here because that guy looks like he would really taste good with some fermented garlic honey or some spicy cabbage or. And you see the eye just starts to wander, just the one, and then all of a sudden it pops back and, yeah, hi, Chadwick. I was just telling all these guys how that armor really makes you look like a snack.
I'm so glad you got to go last.
Do me a favor and comment your favorite song to motivate you to get things done down below in the comments. I am looking for more songs to fill out my playlist. Welcome, my name is UB, and today we're going to be drawing an original character of mine, so let's get started. Alright, so today we're going to be drawing Goreweaver, who is my original character for an upcoming test of the Spiral game system. And some of you are out there like, that's a lot of gibberish, please explain. So basically my friend Joe, who has written a number of tabletop games in the past and really lives and breathes tabletop RPGs, has put together a system kind of like Fate or Silkcore or Dungeons and Dragons that you can make games out of. So he named it the Spiral Game System, otherwise known as SGS. Basically, it's this set of rules that you can build a world in and then put characters into and make a game out of it. And it's really cool, and he's such a smart guy. It just blows me away how talented he is. Go check his stuff out. He goes by Arcandio on the internet. Look him up on Twitch, Arcandio Art. Look him up at arcandio.com. He's amazing. Part of putting together a system like this is that you have to test it to make sure that things don't break and that players of all different skill levels can actually get into the content itself. So he set up a game with himself and his wife that he's streaming on Fridays, but he also set up a game on Tuesday nights that's going to be streaming at twitch.tv/Arcandio Art that is going to be me and a handful of other friends of his, and we're going to be playing a game where the world setup is that we are all playing monsters who have to disguise themselves as adventurers in order to thwart the fighter knight hero guy that has entered our monster cave and is trying to basically eradicate all of us monsters. Basically, we are the traditional villains and we have to thwart the traditional hero, and I think it's going to be so much fun. I'm so freaking excited. So we had to put together monster characters, and how fun is that for a girl whose name is Unfinished Business? The monster that I came up with to go with the rest of this group is a ghoul named Goreweaver. And for those of you out there who aren't familiar with fantasy lore, a ghoul is a monster that is known for digging up dead bodies and eating them, kind of like a vulture. They typically are very animalistic, but I decided to make this character a little bit more intelligent than the average ghoul. Goreweaver actually has a passion for fermenting things, making things like sauerkraut and kimchi and all sorts of weird pickled and fermented goodies to go with his rotted meat. There's all sorts of fun twists that go into the character that I'm not going to spoil. You'll just have to tune in on Tuesday evenings at Arcandio Art on Twitch in order to see the full depth of this character. But the really exciting part is that I had to kind of mesh a traditional ghoul that's very, very spooky and has blood running down and is very gaunt and gross with something that could be kind of mistaken for a regular adventurer. And thankfully our hero character isn't considered the smartest, so we didn't have to be too strict on our adventurer disguises as players, but it was still important to kind of have an adventurer look to them so that it could be like plausible in some universe that this hero character would take them on as part of his adventuring party. And so that's kind of how Goreweaver came to be. Just kind of walk you through how I drew him. We'll do this in chapters today instead of me just like peppering in how I did things throughout the whole video. So I started with my white canvas and I really played with the anatomy on Goreweaver because I wasn't sure exactly what pose I wanted them in, and I basically looked up a bunch of reference photos on Google and I was trying to find exact references to the kind of hand I was trying to do, and that's where the hand reaching out came from. And the rest of it kind of followed, and I was still in the process of putting this character together when I drew this, so it might seem a little bit bland, but that's kind of par for the course. And I started out with my blue outline and then I went over it with my inking in black, and that's where everything kind of got solidified. I spent a lot of time doing some texture on the line art with all of those little crosshatchy lines, and that was really the style I wanted to go for with this spooky character. It's kind of the style I go for with all of the spooky things I do, and I really enjoy it a lot. I think it really elevates a line art so much more, and it kind of speaks to the comic book side of me as well. And so I spent a lot of time putting in those little crosshatchy lines to give it texture and depth. And that was kind of where I left stream that day, because at that point I had put in about 2 hours. It might have been a little bit more than 2 hours, actually. I think this one went long. I really enjoyed putting together the line art, and I just had to get going, do the next thing on my to-do list, and then later I went back in to color it and give it a background and all that good stuff. And basically this is just another value painting, you know. I've gotten very comfortable with value painting, and so that's kind of where I've been going with things. I have been trying to look up other ideas that I can play with on digital art and stuff, and I think it's just a slow learning process, so bear with me. But we've talked about value paintings in the past, but I keep saying that in my videos, so how about we just recap what a value painting is? So a value painting is basically that you put down a layer of gray behind your character or object or whatever your focal point is, right? And then basically you create a clipping mask, is what they call it in Photoshop at least, and that makes it so that you can't color outside of that gray background that you just gave your character. And that makes it really easy to go in with some darker grays and do your shading on that gray layer. And then when you put in color, you have to change your color mode to overlay so that it's a little bit transparent and it interacts with the gray differently than you would normally see. Because you've done that, you can go back into your black and white layer underneath the color, and the darker you make your grays, the more vibrant the color is going to be, and the more light you make your grays, the more close it's going to get to a white on the color layer. That might sound really complex and confusing, but if you are still confused, you can look back in some of my older videos, and I show it a lot more specifically and intentionally than I did in this video, so go check those out. At the end, I just kind of added some spooge to his big jar that he carries with him. Basically, that jar is a collection of rotted meat that he has put in a little bit of each of his hunts, and he's just kind of experimenting to see how it all ferments together, and he'll sometimes snack out of it to like stay sane and not want to go on a hunting rampage. So that's kind of his like bank of rotted meat that he eats out of, and I thought it was kind of weird and gross and adorable. And I think you guys are really gonna like him if you tune in on Tuesdays, and I think it's gonna be just a blast. All right, I'm gonna let you guys go for today then. I just want to thank all of my patrons at the moment, Twyla, Nathaniel, Mark, and Liam. You guys are rock stars, and I have been able to do a lot of great stuff lately, and we actually had a big milestone on the channel, and you are the reason that I was able to get to the 40 video mark on YouTube last week. Last week was my 40th video upload. Thank you so much for tuning in and getting to the end of the video. I will give you 1,000 experience points just for getting this far, and I'll give you another 1,000 if you follow me on Twitch or subscribe on YouTube. So click those buttons, check me out. I'm doing a lot of great things and making a lot of content behind the scenes. I always have things going on behind the scenes, don't worry about it. And check me out on all of the socials. It's a great thing. Give me that song suggestion, please. Don't think about it too much. And I will see you guys next week. Don't forget to drink some water and love yourself. Have a good one. Peace.